Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel where we learn to be a better programmer. And this video is part 7 of our Learn the MERN Stack video tutorial where we're building a full stack web application using MongoDB, NodeJS, ExpressJS, and React. In the last video we built our auth form, and in this video we're going to start off with adding an app bar, and then we're going to add a few more components that are going to help us display our application. Okay, so if you want to follow along, I'll link the description to the repo where you can clone tutorial part 6 and you can start a new branch called part 7 and you'll be able to follow along from there. Or you can just take, if you want to look at the complete code, you can just look at tutorial part 7 after I upload it. All right, so let's get into it. So this is where we left off last time. We had the sign-in form that we created. I just changed one little thing where it was stuck at the top and I just needed to add 100% vertical height to the wrapper component for this. All right, so what we're going to do is we need to rearrange our app.js app.js here. So I actually want to wrap the browser router in this div like this. Okay, and now we need to create a switch, which is going to allow us to render components selectively based on which route they are a part of. So if I say route exact path is going to equal login, and then I'm going to say component is going to equal auth form, like that. All right, and put a closing tag, this, and then I'll put another one, and I'm going to say sign up, and route is not defined, so I need to pull that in here. Oops, route, and then switch is actually pulled in from React Router DOM, not Material UI core. All right, so that is all we need to do there. Okay, so if I navigate back over to my browser, we see that the home page is no longer showing the login form. So what we need to do is type in login, like that. And we see that sign in comes up. And then if we type in sign up, we get the sign up page. And if I click this sign in link, we navigate back to the sign in page. And then if we click sign up, it goes back to the sign up page. Okay, great. So that works. Now what I want to do is I want to add an app bar to our application. So I'm just going to create a new folder, app bar, and a new folder inside of components, and then I'm going to just call this appbar.js. Okay, so this, remember, this is that use auth hook that we pulled in created in the last tutorial. All right, so const custom app bar is equal to, we're just going to make it a functional component, and then we're going to have some state inside of this. So const should open menu, and set open menu. And it's going to say use state false, because we want the menu to be closed by default. And then const menu anchor, and then set menu anchor is equal to use state of null. So when we have a drop-down menu with Material UI, we need to tell it which component to link or anchor itself to. So that's what this piece of state is, and we will set it to null by default. All right, and then we're going to pull in our set username, and set auth token from equals use auth, like that. All right, so that pulls in those, and then I'm going to create a couple of helper functions. So const close menu is an arrow function that doesn't take in anything, and then we're going to say set open menu is equal to false, and then const open menu is equal to set open menu equal to true. And actually this is going to take in an event, an event target, or an event rather, and then we're going to say set menu menu anchor equal to e.current target, like that. Okay, and then const logout is equal to an arrow function. We're going to say set username to empty. We're going to say set auth token to empty, and then we're going to close that menu like this. Awesome. So now we can get into our actual component. So we're going to say return, return, and this is going to be app bar. Position is going to be static, so we just want it only at the top. And then inside we're going to say if there's a username is set, then we want to display the menu. So we're going to say menu ID is menu, and then anchor element is equal to menu anchor. No commas. Keep mounted, and we want to say open. This should open menu, and then on close we want to say we pass in an arrow function, and then we say close menu like this. All right, and close it like that. Awesome. So I'm just going to bring this down a line and reorganize a little bit. Okay. Awesome. So that's our menu, and this is actually, we're going to fill it with stuff. So we're going to say menu item, and then we're going to add an on click, and we're going to say close menu, and inside of this menu item we're just going to have a link to, and then so this is going to be like when we link to home, so style, we don't want any text decoration, and we're going to say none, and the color is going to be black. Like that. All right. And then we're going to say the text inside is home. And then we're going to copy this menu item a few more times, like this. And this is going to be log out. And the on click is just going to be log out like this. Yeah. All right, so that's going to close the menu and also set the auth token to 0 and or to empty, and then it's going to redirect back to the home page. Okay. So then so this is if username, otherwise we set the menu item to null like that. We set the menu to null, or we return null rather. And then last but not least, we want to add a toolbar, and then the inside of this we're going to do something similar. We're going to say username, and we're going to say icon button, and the props on this icon button are going to be edge is equal to start, color is equal to inherit, and then on click is equal to E, and then open menu, E, like that. And then inside, we're going to pull in the more vert icon. We actually don't have this yet, but I'll show you what that install looks like. And then otherwise, so that's basically if the user is there, we want to open the menu. Otherwise, we return null and we don't say anything. And then last but not least, we need a typography. And we're going to say variant is equal to an H6. And we're just going to put in another link. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to say unote. So that's going to be our heading. So we don't have more vert, and that comes from the material UI icons, and that's what we need to install. All right, so I'm going to install that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I added more vert to material UI icons, and I have it I put it here, and then lastly we need to export this. So we're going to say export default custom app bar, like that. And then inside of app.js, we are going to pull that in. So we're going to just put this inside of the browser router, but above the switch. So we're going to say custom app bar, like that. Okay, so here we have it. We have our app bar, we have the unote title, and then if we have this drop down, which shouldn't be here because we're not technically logged in, but if I click log out, so I have a little bit of a bug here because I didn't name this the same way like here. So see, set username needs to actually be set username in camel case. So this is actually this, and this is this. All right, so now it should work. So if I hit log out, awesome. So it goes to this unote page and the app bar is gone, or the overflow menu is gone. So if I type in login again, awesome, we see that that's there. Great. All right, so that's the app bar. So now what we want to test is we're just going to test a quick sign up. So a quick username, my new user, and then simple password. Awesome. So we are verified that we are signed up. But the problem is you're stuck on this sign up page. So we need to create a quick home page to where we can redirect users. But in order to do that, we need what's called a private route. All right, so, okay, awesome. So we have our app bar, we've logged out, and okay, so now what we need to do is we need to just sign up a user and have them redirect. So in order for us to do this, we need to create private routes, because right now, all of these routes inside of our app.js are public. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component folder called route types. And then inside of here, I'm going to create a new file called private route.js. And I'm going to say import React from React. And then I'm going to say import route redirect from React router DOM, like that. And then I'm going to say import use auth from auth, like that. And now we're just going to have a simple private route component. So it's going to say const private route is equal to, and it's going to take in some props. So the props it's going to take in is the component to redirect to, and then all of the other props that we want to pass through, like this. And then inside of here, we're going to say const username is equal to use auth. And we're going to say return, whoops, route of, pass in the rest of the props, and then we're going to render. And inside of this, it's a function that takes props, and then we're going to say username. Is the username there? Then we want to render the component. We're going to say component of props like this. Otherwise, we want to redirect to login. So we're just going to say redirect to path name is equal to /login, and then the state that we want to pass in is where you're coming from. So props.location, like that. Right, like this. Component. Awesome. So this is kind of all we needed to do for a private route. Actually, I'm not going to call this props, it's rest here. And export default private route. Awesome. So now when we head back over to app.js, we can have a route, or we can have a private route of exact path of home, and then the component we want to show, we're going to create a home component in a second. All right, awesome. And then we also are going to need a path for, so for right now, what I'm going to do is going to say route exact path, and then we're just going to put in the component of auth form, like this. So this will just make sure that when we redirect, when we redirect to home, it just takes us to the auth form. All right, so now this isn't going to compile because I don't have a home page. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new folder, home page, and then add a new file, home.js. And this is very similar to the other components, so I'm just going to pull in React, and I think that's all I need for right now. I'm just going to say const homepage is equal to, that's probably going to accept some props at some point, and then return just an empty div, like that. All right, and we can just say home in the middle of it. Export default homepage, like this, and inside of app we pull in home from, no, that's not correct, not from icons. I want to pull in home page. Yes, okay, awesome. So now app.js home is not defined. So if we sign up, dummy username, and then give it a password, click sign up. All right, so we see that we are signed in, but it did not redirect. So why is that? So let's see. Let's go to our auth form, and okay, so username is fine. Ah, right, we didn't redirect to the home page. So we're just going to say redirect to home, like that. Oops. and then we're just gonna say return. And I need to pull that in, redirect. Okay, so I had a few bugs here. So if we take a look at the auth form, so the problem was this was named user underscore name, and auth, you can't, like, auth doesn't provide that. If we look in our app.js, right, we set it to username. So we actually have a little bit of a collision. So what I did was I named it properly as username, but the internal state of the auth form I used as camel case. So here, everywhere there's a camel case username, it's the internal state of the auth form, but when it's a non-camel case username, we pull it in from the auth state. So that's why we redirect here. Okay, so we also had another bug in our server-side code, right? So our server-side code, we had this post route to create a user, but the equivalent login route had, instead of user, it said new user here, which is actually incorrect. So we actually need to put in user.username, okay? Now, let's jump back over to our form and we'll see what this looks like when it works. Our React app. So let's just create a new user, say Gerard Tay, and then we're just gonna have a quick password. Let me just retype that, just to make sure. All right, sign up. Awesome, so it redirects us back to home after we are authenticated. Now if we log out, it takes us back to sign in, and then if we say, when we sign in, and it takes us to home. Awesome. So what we did in this video is we created our app bar that has this more vertical menu on over here when you're signed in, and then we also created some protected routes, right? So if we try to navigate to home, it should redirect us back to sign in, right? Because we are not authenticated anymore after we log out. So now that we have protected routes, we can start to implement some of that functionality that requires you to be a user. So that means displaying the list of notes that you've taken, and also having the ability to update and edit notes. All right. So if you like the video, please feel free to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future parts of this tutorial. Thanks.